Hello and welcome back to the classes on human anatomy and physiology, and now we are dealing with the topic skeletal system, and under that till now we have completed the study of various bones of axial skeleton and appendicular skeleton, and in this class we will be studying about different types of joints. A joint is a site where two or more bones meet together, and there are different joints in the body and they serve different purposes. The main function of a joint is it facilitates the movement. Apart from this, they are also necessary for holding any two bones in place. Let's see about what are different types of joints and what are their functions. There are three different types of joints in the body. They are fibrous joints, cartilaginous joints, and synovial joints. These are the three joints. These are the three different types of joints that are found in the body: fibrous joint, cartilaginous joint, and synovial joint. Now let's see about fibrous joints. Fibrous joints are immobile joints, or we can also label them as slightly movable joints. We can see these fibrous joints between the two bones of cranium, where these are called as sutures, and here there is a tough fibrous material which joins these two bones, forming the suture, and here these fibrous joints are immobile joints. In the same way that the tooth also are attached to the alveolar ridges of the jaw bones by a periodontal ligament, and this is also an immobile type of joint. Whereas we have seen that the tibia and fibula, radius and ulna, these are attached with each other by an interosseous membrane, which is also a fibrous tissue. But here this type of fibrous joint will allow slight movement. And the next is cartilaginous joint. These cartilaginous joints in general are necessary for absorbing the shock, and they also produce some extent of cushion. And examples of these cartilaginous joints are, we can see the vertebrae of the vertebral column are joined with each other by a cartilaginous joint. Here we can see a tough fibrous pad of cartilage between these two vertebrae, whereas here this fibrous cartilage is called as intervertebral disc, and this is necessary for absorbing the shock between the vertebrae, and this also will prevent the damage to the brain. Another example of cartilaginous joint is the symphysis pubis, where we have seen that the pubis of two innominate bones, they join at this symphysis pubis with a cartilaginous joint, and this is slightly flexible. During the time of childbirth, there occurs liquefaction, or we can say reduction in its consistency, facilitating the enlargement of pelvis during childbirth. And the other most common type of joint is the synovial joint, and synovial joint, it allows majority of the movements of joints. And other peculiar feature of this synovial joint is that there is a fibrous material or sheath which holds two bones as a joint. And there are other characteristic features of this synovial joint which we will see them in detail. Now let's see the characteristic features of a synovial joint. A synovial joint has various characters in common. Of these, the first is articular cartilage or hyaline cartilage. It is common that those bones which are about to form a synovial joint have hyaline cartilage in their ends, and this hyaline cartilage will reduce the friction between the bones, and it also is strong enough to absorb the compressive forces. In healthy adults, the hyaline cartilage will be about 7 millimeter in length, whereas with aging this gradually reduces and becomes thinner, affecting the joint. And all the synovial joints have another feature in common, that is a capsule, which is also called as capsular ligament. And this capsule is made up of a fibrous material, and this is necessary for holding the bones together. We have seen that in a synovial joint, the two bones are not in direct contact with each other, but they are held in position in this joint by this capsule, which is made up of a fibrous tissue. And this capsule is loose enough to facilitate the movements within the joint, and it is also tough enough so that it will prevent the joint from injury. Apart from this, synovial joints have synovial membrane. This consists of epithelial cells which line the capsule, and this epithelial membrane it lines all the non-weight bearing structures within the joint, and they secrete a fluid called as synovial fluid. Let's see what are the functions of synovial fluid. This synovial fluid is necessary for lubricating the joints and reducing the friction between the joints. It also has phagocytes which are necessary for the removal of microbes and cell debris. Apart from this, synovial fluid also nourishes the internal structures of the synovial joint. We have seen the hyaline cartilage also gets its nourishment from this synovial fluid. Synovial fluid also stabilizes the joint and also prevents the joint from and also prevents the bones from being separated. It holds the two bones as if a thin water film holds two glasses tightly. Apart from this, synovial fluid also has certain sacs which are filled with synovial fluid, and these are called as bursae, and these bursae can be seen in knee joint, and they act as a cushion to prevent friction between the bones or between the bones and tendons or between the bones, tendons or ligaments or any other surfaces in the synovial joint. And there are certain intracapsular structures and extracapsular structures in the synovial joint. The intracapsular structures are fat pads, which are also called as menisci, and this also acts as a cushion, and these are generally found in the knee joint. Apart from this, the extracapsular structures are the muscles, ligaments, tendons which are associated with the synovial joint. Whereas the nerve and blood supply to a joint is supplied with the same nerves and blood vessels that are supplied to the muscles. These are the various characteristics of a synovial joint. Now let's see what are the various movements that are possible with that of synovial joint. we will be coming across various movements. Of them, the most common are the flexion and extension. Flexion is generally bending forward, whereas in some cases it is bending backward, as in the case of knee joint. Whereas extension is straightening or bending backward. Abduction is something movement away from the midline. So this is extension. Whereas abduction is something movement towards the midline. In the same way, rotation is any movement along the axis of the body. For example, rotation of your head. And circumduction is movement of a limb or movement of a digit of a finger in a way representing it a shape of a cone. For example, if we show it like this means it is circumduction. Pronation, it is moving the palm of the hand down. It is pronation. Whereas supination, moving the palm of the hand up, is supination. In the same way, inversion, it is moving the sole of the foot inwards medially, whereas eversion is turning the sole of the foot outwards. These are the various movements which are possible with the synovial joints. Now let's see various examples of synovial joint. There are 6 different types of joints. They are synovial joint, hinge joint, condyloid joint, pivot joint, saddle joint, and gliding joint. Now let's see them in detail. Ball and socket joint. Here, this type of joint is formed between a bony surface which is spherical and which can sit into a cup-shaped socket. This forms the ball and socket type of joint. Examples of this type of joint are the shoulder joint and the hip joint. In the shoulder joint, the head of humerus, it sits in the glenoid cavity of scapula, whereas in the hip joint, the head of the femur, it sits in the acetabulum of the innominate bone. And this type of joint will allow various types of movements such as flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, rotation, and circumduction. The other type of joint is hinge joint. Hinge is similar to that of a hinge of a door, and this type of joint also is formed between bones, and these bones are attached in such a way that a door is attached to the surface with a hinge joint. Examples of this type of joint are the elbow joint and knee joint, and the extent of movement possible with this type of joint is very limited. It is limited to flexion and extension. The other type of joint is gliding joint. Here, this type of joint, it forms between the surfaces of bones which are having rounded areas. Example, the carpal bones of the wrist and the tarsal bones of the ankle joint. So these are examples of gliding joint where the bones, they simply glide over each other, and here this also restricts the movement of these bones, and gliding joint is one of the least movable types of synovial joint. Next we will see pivot joint. Pivot joint, it is formed between two bones which allows the movement of rotation. For example, you can see the atlas and axis. The atlas is the second cervical vertebrae and it has a protrusion called as odontoid process. And this odontoid process, it forms a joint with the axis. Axis is the first cervical vertebrae, and these two are held in position by a transverse ligament, and this transverse ligament holds these two bones together, and this allows the rotation of atlas between the axis, and this type of joint is called as pivot joint. The other type of joint is condyloid joint. Here the two bones which form this joint have different characteristics. One will have a smooth rounded surface and the other will have a small depression or a socket. Example, the lower jaw or the mandible will form a condyloid joint with that of temporal bone, and this joint permits flexion, extension, adduction, abduction and circumduction, but not rotation. The last type of joint is saddle joint, and this appears in a way that a man sitting on a saddle on the back of the horse, and this movement occurs as if the saddle is moving on the back of the horse. Example, the joint between the base of the first metacarpal and the trapezium of the wrist bone, and this forms the saddle joint. And this type of joint will allow the movements of all that are possible with condyloid joint. Apart from this, there is another flexibility which is called as apposition. Here, for example, we can see the first metacarpal which gives attachment to the phalanges of thumb. It is having the apposition so that we can touch any region within the palm. So this is apposition. This is an additional flexibility that is possible with the saddle joint, and this is regarding the joints.